Welcome to Mission Control Houston, where the team here is following along with the activities of the Expedition 26 crew orbiting 220 statute miles above the North Pacific Ocean. Commander Scott Kelly and his flight engineers Alexander Kaleri of the Russian Federal Space Agency and his colleague Oleg Skropochka continuing a variety of maintenance and experimental activities aboard the International Space Station today. The team here in the flight control room is watching over those activities and providing support as necessary. Today's team being led by Flight Director Jerry Jason, with Rob Hayhurst, the spacecraft communicator, who will be talking with the crew as needed. We are receiving some live downlink television from on board the International Space Station today, as Commander Scott Kelly wraps up some work with a test of the spheres experiment and gets ready to go on to some additional work in building a new receptacle for some urine that will be used to hold that until it's needed to be recycled out inside and reused as drinking water, hygiene water, and for food preparation and other uses such as oxygen generation aboard the International Space Station. Meanwhile, the Russian crew members are continuing to focus on work with their radio technical system installation. This is an adapter that's similar to the high data rate communication system used on the American side of the space station that will allow large data files to be uplinked and downlinked from the Russian segment using Russian communication assets and the ground stations that span Asia. In addition, they've been continuing some work with the Russian air conditioning units known as Eskavaz. They have been watching some issues with the collection of condensate, which is later recycled for oxygen generation on the Russian side of the station. They've been checking for bent hoses, clogged filters, and making sure that the condensation pump is working properly. Again, one of the big activities today was working with the spheres experiment on board the space station. SPHERES stands for Synchronized Position, Hold, Engage, and Reorient Experimental Satellites, and that they are essentially akin to the droids that were seen in the Star Wars movies as remotes that were used for target practice by Luke Skywalker with his lightsaber. Instead of using them for lightsaber practice, however, these droids on the space station are being used to test automated rendezvous and formation flying in zero gravity. Those techniques are going to be tested in computer simulations on Earth, but at the space station is the only place they can be tested under sustained microgravity conditions. So far, the tests have been all conducted within the safety of the station's interior, but in the future, the SPHERES satellites may actually venture outside the space station for some testing there. It's all a development that began in 1999 at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology with Professor David Miller. And one of the principal investigators on the experiment is Greg Shomatoff, former International Space Station resident, who worked with them during his trip on board the space station during his Expedition 17, Expedition 18 stay aboard the outpost. So another day of research and technology development activities aboard the International Space Station, as well as maintenance and continuing development of the support systems, such as the communication systems the Russians are working on. We are getting ready to come over the United States on this orbital pass, and we hope to bring you some good downlink television from the external cameras on the space station during that pass. Again, all systems on the International Space Station working very well as the Expedition 26 crew continues its work on board the station and awaits the arrival of the next 3 crew members. The Expedition 26 crew will be rounded out by Dmitry Kondrachev, Paolo Nespoli, and Katie Coleman, who are scheduled to launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on December 15th and dock with the International Space Station on December the 17th. That trio today is undergoing medical exams at the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center in Star City, Russia, and conducting final administrative work before they leave tomorrow for the launch site at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan for their final 2 weeks of pre-launch training and preparation.